You ready? Now, well, greetings. I'm just going through the paper today, and I keep seeing the headlines. Same thing y'all seeing. First, I like to say hello to my little doggy. That's a little Hannibal right there. He's kind of like my little bodyguard, I guess you can call him. But anyway, just going through the paper, and I see the same thing I guess everybody else is seeing in terms of the Trayvon Martin case. And I actually wasn't gonna bring it up or anything like that because there's a lot of caveats to it, I guess. But as usual, you see the I guess you can call them the white racist establishment rearing their ugly heads, aka the Republicans, aka the evangelical Christians. And it's so many things to be said about the case and etc. The guy's father, he's coming out, Obama's spreading hate and etc. And of course, his son is a bigot, so he probably learned that from his father. So of course he's going to stick up for his father. I've heard different people, and usually the hillbillies from down south, they say everything from, well, that boy Trayvon, he was training with Al Qaeda over in Afghanistan. I have video footage. And Trayvon Martin, he was down here having sex with our good, clean, wholesome, pure white women. Trayvon Martin, he was a drug dealer. Okay, let's say all of that was true. Let's just say all of that was true, hypothetically. And under a law, until you're convicted, you still have rights, and then even after you're convicted, you still have rights. So this guy George, or should I call him Jorge Zimmerman, for the most part, pursued this cat. He pursued this guy. He pursued him, and at that point of pursuant, the person that's entitled to use the stand your ground rule would have been Trayvon Martin, not George Zimmerman. So that's the part that I guess is a little confusing, because his story doesn't make sense. He's looking at the kid, he's pursuing the kid, then once he lost the kid, and then all of a sudden he gets back in his truck, and then the kid magically pops out, like a Frosty Lucky Charms or something. Personally, I think he killed the kid, the child in cold blood. I don't think it was an altercation. I think that child was trying to get away from him, and once the kid finally got away from him after George Zimmerman accosted him, then that's when he was shot. That's what I firmly believe. Of course, I don't have any any forensic evidence or anything of that matter, but it just seems like a more likely story than this child just popped out of nowhere, and then they got into an altercation, and he feared for his life, and then he shot the child. I don't believe that. Even if my grandmother, my great grandmother, can come back from the grave and vouch for George Zimmerman, and I would not believe that. So of course the pussy cops, these demonic cops, they messed up the crime scene, so you can't necessarily get any evidence from that. You don't have any impressions. You don't, you can't, I guess you can recreate the scene and give scenarios as to what happened, but the crime scene is contaminated at this point. So I guess there's no good outcome to what happened. I think a lot of people are harping on race, and it's not necessarily about race. It's not actually about it is about Trayvon Martin, but in essence it's about the people that have been murdered, innocent people. Sean Bell, Amadou Diallo, Dante Dawson, who by the way was actually killed by an officer, D. Pasquale, and if I'm not mistaken, he's still on the force. And actually, that officer D. Pasquale actually killed Moises de Jesus as well. So this is like the authority getting involved. And once George Zimmerman shot this child, then the child, and then these hillbilly cops, they didn't bother to arrest him. They didn't bother to do any kind of investigation. They just took, basically they took statements, and that was it. Once it escalates to that, then it becomes a problem, because now you're saying, well, these people are supposed to be in authority, and they just screwed up a whole case. And unfortunately, that's probably the way it's going to be. There's no other way around. Like I said, there's no evidence now because they messed that all up. They can recreate scenes, etc. But in terms of gathering any evidence from the crime scene, that's probably going to be a no-go. So and again, for the white people out there that are unaware, these things happen all the time. I can remember this racist demon named Frank Rizzo. He actually used to be the police commissioner. Then he was the damn mayor of Philadelphia. And I remember he used to come around and drive around. Then he used to send his the police around to harass us for no good reason whatsoever. Just, I guess, to try to keep us in check or what have you. But these things happen everywhere where African people are. I don't think it's so much of I think it's, this guy has proven himself to be a bigot through his through tapes, through just him calling the cops X amount of times and reporting suspicious activity. This guy obviously was a vigilante. He was a bigot. So now the question is, well, will he ever get arrested? And if he doesn't get arrested, what will happen? Hey, look, I don't know. I have no idea. I think the whole case is bundled, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. This guy, I'm almost certain, and the same thing can happen to him. Somebody can, if he's in Florida, somebody can, come up to him and say, oh, well, I felt threatened. Boom, shoot him and kill him. And, if he goes to jail, what is he going to go to jail for? Is he going to go to jail for manslaughter? He'll probably get probation for that. This man, this adult man, definitely needs to pay for assassinating, murdering, killing this child. He had no right to do that. He was not in a position to do that. This dude is a block captain. He's a watch captain. You understand? Your job is to report suspicious crime to the authorities. You understand? You're not allowed to go accost, apprehend, or pursue anyone. You're not supposed to do that. So this guy obviously had a complex. I don't know if it was racial. His power. Oh well, he was Cuban, and some of his ancestors are African. Cubans are racist. Cubans are white Cubans are racist. As a matter of fact, if you go to Miami, a lot of the white Cubans you see are over there because Fidel Castro said everything will be equal. Y'all will not be the darlings of the Cuban race. And the white Cubans said, okay, that's it, we're going, and they tried to flee. If you go to Miami, you will see the majority of Cuban people that are over there are the white Cubans. Hey, sit down. This dog is starting to bother me now. So, it's just like I said, it's an unfortunate incident, sad incident, and this guy needs to be brought to justice. It's just it's an unfortunate incident, and then, like I said, these things go on in every community, every African communities. These type of things go on. Now, I'm not excusing any violence, any gang violence, or things like that. But when the cops were created, when the police force was created, they used to come through African neighborhoods and just ravage and plunder and have themselves a good old time. Rape the African women and things like that. And that's a stigma attached to the police force. As a matter of fact, the police force in Philadelphia, the African officers that are on the police force in Philadelphia had to start their own quote unquote fraternal league because of the racism that exists within the police district. They had to start their own little squad, their own little investigation squad, and things of that nature, because of the racism that exists in the within the police, within the police ranks and things. So it's a sad incident all around. It is a shame that we still are going through the same BS. It's a shame that a lot of these cops, man. I gotta say, a lot of these cops are what they are these dudes who didn't get any pussy in high school, couldn't get a good girl, couldn't get a good looking girl in high school, and they want to go out with this chip on their shoulder. Now they want to go out and hero the world, so to speak, and save the world, so to speak. And that's fine, but they're taking out things on other people. I can't even imagine. I can only imagine how many of them are racist, how many of them are bigots. Same thing that goes on with the army. These guys are just guys who need hugs, who need pussy, and they haven't been getting that. So now they want to go out and exact their rage on the world, all those pent up energy that they should have been using on women. Now they need to use it on the police force, and that's what most of these guys are. They're cowards. They belong nowhere on the streets, especially with a gun, because they're cowards. They don't know how to defuse anything. You understand? I've seen people just get shot just because the cops are scared. They're afraid. Well, if you're afraid, why the fuck are you out on the streets? Go do something else. Go sit behind a desk. Let brave people handle that. Y'all don't need to handle that, because that's how people get killed. That's how innocent people get killed. Innocent people get killed because you're a coward. You're scared. You're afraid of what's gonna happen to you. And if things get like that, you don't really need to be a cop. They need to have some type of psychiatric evaluation for cops. Some type of reflex action for cops, because this officer D. Pasquale, he actually shot Dante Dawson in his head because he flinched. He woke up. He was high. They kept trying to wake him up. He wouldn't wake up, and then he flinched. So then the dude shot him in his head. That's cowardice, man. You don't need to be on the street with that. So for all you coward ass cops, man, go get a desk job or something. Hey, come here. I guess that's my time, man. That's my few times of ranting. Again, I didn't want to comment on it, but I had to. So I'm gone.